Hi everyone! Continuing the Steely Dan weekend, which got off to a fascinating start yesterday. Today I am listening to a song called Kid Charlemagne from 1976. It's so interesting to me that both of these songs, as well as the other song that I had heard in the past, they all seem to have names, places, or people as the title. I wonder if that's a feature of Steely Dan's music. Perhaps not. Maybe it's just luck of the draw. But it's interesting to me that names are an important part of these titles that I've heard to date and that I'm listening to today. Larry Carlton's guitar solo on the song was ranked number 80 in a 2008 list of the 100 greatest guitar solos by Rolling Stone. So this one has a significant guitar solo. I'll be keeping my ears open for it. But also, just like yesterday, I am curious about all the different elements. Let's listen. Oh, bit of dissonance there.
While the music played, you walked by candlelight. Those San Francisco nights were the best in town. By chance you crossed the diamond with the pearl. You turned it on the world. That's when you turned the world around. Ooh. Did you feel like Jesus? Did you realize that you were a champion in their eyes? On the hill the stuff was laced with kerosene, but yours was kitchen clean. Everyone stopped to stare at your Technicolor motorhome. Every friend had your number on the wall. You must have had it all. You go to LA on a dare and you go it alone. Could you live forever? Could you see the day? Could you feel your whole world fall apart and fade away? Get along, Kid Charlemagne. Get along, Kid Charlemagne. Now your patrons have all left you in the wreck.
So this is very much a storytelling song. Yesterday's song was more evoking and creating an image, a picture of somebody without actually telling their story. Now here, we are hearing the story. It is being told line by line. And there are some lines that stand out to me, actually. While the music played, you worked by candlelight. Those San Francisco nights. Okay, this is another one set in California. San Francisco, to be precise. You were the best in town. And this line, just by chance, you crossed the diamond with the pearl. I didn't know what that was about when it first played, and I was thinking, oh, wow, what a concept. Crossed the diamond with the pearl. You turned it on the world. That's when you turned the world around. The idea of crossing the diamond with the pearl. Like cross-pollinating two different plants and ending up with something greater and better and more than both of them together. What a line! The diamond with the pearl. Okay, that one stood out to me as, oh, wow, what an idea. Well, as the song progresses, I begin to get the idea that this is not exactly about diamonds and pearls, but perhaps something a little more questionable in nature. For example, on the hill, the stuff was laced with kerosene, but yours was kitchen clean. That lets me know that this diamond with the pearl crossing is a code for something else. But here we have this idea, crossed the diamond with the pearl. And then as the story progresses, so this guy, what he was doing, this Kid Charlemagne, what a name, Kid Charlemagne. What he was producing, was better than everybody else around, and he was known for it. Another line that stood out to me because of the song I listened to yesterday. Everyone stopped to stare at your Technicolor motorhome. And I remember yesterday there was this line. Oh, in fact, maybe I should go look it up again. Something about nobody stared, or people never stare. People never stare. Okay, and now everybody stopped to stare. It's interesting noticing these common phrases between the songs, isn't it? And how they're used in different contexts. Now we're at the point where suddenly I get the impression that things are not going to go so great. Could you feel your whole world fall apart and fade away? After being king, and suddenly things start falling apart. Well, if your crossing of diamonds with pearls is not exactly diamonds and pearls, perhaps that's a real possibility. But this is all about the story of a person. And I start to get the feeling that it is about the rise and fall of a person.
Could you see the day? Could you feel your whole world?
And the music in this... Okay, let's back up a little bit because the music is creating a vibe. It's creating a mood. There's this sort of nervousness and tension and energy which carries it along. And at the same time, now as I'm thinking about the lyrics and how the story is progressing, it's interesting to feel the sort of energy and intensity that the music is bringing to this personality, and creating a picture of what they're like as a person, as a character.
Everyone stopped to stare at the Technicolor motorhome.
Technicolor. And it makes these things stand out. Every A-frame had your number on the wall. You were king. Everybody wanted what you had. Could you live forever? Could you see the day? And here is the peak. Could you feel your whole world? That is where the voice rises up to peak. It is an important moment in the piece, even though I haven't heard the rest of the piece. This is musically a significant moment when we hear that whole world as the highest point.
Could you feel your whole world fall apart and fade away? Get along, King Charlemagne. Get along, King Charlemagne.
You know what? It's been portraying this personality as king, right? And it just crossed my mind as I'm hearing the chorus sing, get along, Kid Charlemagne. It almost could be heard as, get along, King Charlemagne.
Get along, King Charlemagne. Get along, King Charlemagne. Now your patrons have all left you in the red. Your
Okay,
friends are dead.
I was curious about this, and it's interesting to notice.
Freaks who used to paint the face, they joined the human race. Some things will never change. Son, you are mistaken.
I was curious about whether this would really settle into the storytelling narrator's kind of bardic tradition, going way back, of setting a story to a simple melody and accompaniment, or whether the music would adapt to evoke the next phase of the person's life. So there are different ways of telling stories in music. There are different ways of communicating things. Is this music simply supporting the voice and the recitation, which is a very legitimate thing for music to do? Or is this music taking a more front and center role in the actual telling of the story, so that the music itself changes mood, changes color, changes texture according to what is happening in the story? And this could go either way. The first portion, as I noted, it creates this, and you start to associate this vibe with this person, and it creates a sort of portrait of the personality of the person. And I start to build a visual image in my mind of who this person is and how they might behave and how they might look. And then we get to this verse. Things have changed. Now your patrons have all left you in the red. Your low-rent friends are dead. This life can be very strange. All those day-glow freaks who used to paint the face, they've joined the human race. The music didn't change its characteristics in such a way that communicated that the music is telling the story for us. So suddenly the music at this point in the song takes a more furniture role. What I mean by that is, rather than being an active part of the storyteller, it is the furniture on which the storyteller sits. So, just as I'm sitting on this chair, it's a very interesting chair, and I could say a lot of things about it, and there are things that perhaps might be of interest even in who I am as a person, but it is not the story of me. And this music here is suddenly telling me this is not the story of the person. The lyrics are the story. The music is the furniture on which the story sits. Maybe not quite so utilitarian, because it does create a certain vibe, and it does contribute to the portrait of this person that's being, to the story, the narrative that's being told, but it's not a highly active and assertive part of it. Notice again, let's back up and listen, because it's worth noticing.
Apart, fade away. Get along, keep Charlemagne. Get along, keep Charlemagne.
Same rhythm,
Now your patrons have all left you
same
in the
texture,
red. Your low rent friends are dead.
basically the same instruments.
Very strange.
Doink, doink, doink.
All those
And
day-go
the
freaks who
nervousness.
used to paint the face, they joined the
The lyrics are telling the story here. Even the melody is mostly the same.
Son, you are mistaken. You are obsolete. Look at all the white men on the street. Get along, keep Charlemagne. Get along, keep Charlemagne.
Okay, before we launch into this, why do I make such a big deal about the role of the music and what the music is doing? It's because it impacts how we listen to the piece and how we hear the piece. Okay, if you want to truly listen to this song, you must listen and pay attention to the story being told by the lyrics. Because if you only listen to the music, it won't tell you the story. It's, kind of fun music. And if you like this kind of music, just for mood, for background, fine. You can let it go, and it creates a certain atmosphere, which you could most certainly enjoy without paying attention to the lyrics at all. So it becomes a song which can serve two different roles easily, fill two different roles easily. It can be just pleasure listening because you like that kind of sound and musical mood, or it can be something where you actually pay attention to the lyrics and you suddenly recognize that there is far more to this song than just the musical mood that it sets. Okay, now let's listen to this section, which is probably a kind of solo section. Sort of bowed string, crunchy notes. Here's the guitar with the organ. Plenty of percussion texture. But truly the guitar is taking the lead here. Ooh, I like the way it gets a bit darker there. And I like the way the organ comes in there and supports that.
Clean this mess up, else we'll all end up in jail.
This guitar part tells more story than the rest of the music altogether, doesn't it? Let's back up and hear this again. Okay, this is the setup. Doing, a little bit of meatiness down there. And off we go. Easy, smooth, rising. You hear agility, you hear a smooth sound. You might even say it's a non-violent sound. This is not a guitar solo that screams out at you. It is doing a wonderful job of portraying the successful side of his life, the successful era of his life, where he was king and everything was going well, and he as the lyrics said, you must have had it all. You must have had it all. And it's free, rising up and down, going wherever it wishes. There's this warmth and this confidence to it. But it's not violent. Tells us something about the person, doesn't it? I like those bass notes that add some meatiness to it. The busyness, the activity. Here comes the organ. It colors it. Makes it royal. But listen, that note makes us wait. It says, there's another chapter. And we start to hear it here. Darkening. Oh. A little bit of warped notes out of tune. Warped notes and out of tune and saying, there's a problem. And that is the moment at which we launch into these lyrics. All is not as good as it seemed.
Clean this mess up, else we'll all end up
Here we go.
Those test tubes and the scale, just get it all out of here. Is there gas in the car? Yes, there's gas in the car. I think the people down the hall know who you are. Careful what you carry, 'cause the man is wild. You are still an outlaw in their eyes. Get it low, get Charlemagne.
sort of a statement of your era is over. You are obsolete. There's such a conclusion to that. It's like the voices saying, get along, kid Charlemagne. These are the voices saying, the voices of the people saying, it's over. Get out of here before you get in trouble. Clean up this mess or we'll all end up in jail. There's a conclusion to it. A finality. And it's a descending line. The end of a phrase, of a musical phrase. The motif that embodies conclusion, finality, and it's repeated over and over and over in the organ as we hear the guitar carrying on, and then the music fading out, and so the guitar becomes Kid Charlemagne, and the organ becomes everything that's being said here. Get along. Clean this mess up. Those test tubes, the scale, just get it all out of here. Is there gas in the car? Yes, there's gas in the car. Okay, watch out. Be careful as you're getting out of here. But your time is over. You are obsolete. And it's the strangeness of life, but, such is life. That's the way the music wraps up this storytelling episode. Listen to it again. And you can hear Kid Charlemagne. Still the same personality. But he has to fade away. And he leaves the scene. Not as innocent as cross-pollination, this idea of crossing the diamond with the pearl. And it's a story of the way life goes. And another line that stood out to me was actually quite an ordinary line. And that is, this life can be very strange. Your low-rent friends are dead. This life can be very strange. All those day-glow freaks who used to paint the face, they've joined the human race. So, in other words, they've gotten themselves together and moved on to participate in and work with society. And you are left behind here, and what you thought you built, or what you did build, is now crumbling. I'm fascinated by the use of Charlemagne as the name. I don't know if that's an actual personality, an actual person by that name, or if it was simply chosen. But if it was chosen just because it sounded good or for whatever reason, I think it's a great choice. As I said, Kid Charlemagne, it evokes, everything from Charlemagne of history to Kid Charlemagne. You just were born into it. You grew up into it. It just happened because that's the way, as it says, life can be very strange. You built an empire. Your empire has now fallen, and you have to leave the scene and go somewhere else. Kid Charlemagne, King Charlemagne, the way that the music kind of suggests those could be interchangeable in the chorus at times. An interesting way of this sort of bardic tradition of storytelling. Sometimes the music and the use of the music that's used to support the storytelling is really inconsequential. In this case, I could argue that it's kind of inconsequential here, meaning a slightly different rhythm pattern, some different chords, a different band, a different, kind of tune, whatever. Anything could work to tell this story if it's done in a way that doesn't distract too much from the story the lyrics are telling. In that way, this is one of those pieces where the lyrics really take the lead. They are the driver of the song. They are the thing that makes the song the song. The music itself, it could be this or it could be anything else. However, it's well chosen and it fits the character, the mood, the vibe, the beat, as I was talking, the sort of energy of it. It paints a picture that works incredibly well and fits this story of this character. And that is an important part of the musical storytelling tradition. And then the guitar solo. When it's time for the music to stand out and not have lyrics with it, the guitar solo stands up and says, all right, let's do something important. And it does. It tells more. It takes on the role of storyteller. And we hear King Charlemagne in his successful years. And then we suddenly hear, as we're getting to the last verse, we hear how things have kind of gone out of tune, gotten warped and twisted, and suddenly there's a problem. It doesn't dwell on it because a guitar solo is not supposed to take over the whole song, or why do we have the lyrics? But it does exactly what it needs to do and does it beautifully. And then, of course, the way it wraps up, also highly appropriate. So, another interesting Steely Dan creation, artistic work, and one in which, and I love the fact that both of these songs I've listened to this weekend are so different in the way they're using the music to contribute to the overall impact of the piece. So, an enjoyable one, and worthy of noticing these details, and I'm looking forward to next time I return to Steely Dan at some point in the future. I'll see you soon.